Wilfred Owen, a boy soldier, writes in Arms and the Boy. Let the boy try along his bayonet blade, how cold steel is and keen with a hunger of blood, blue without malice like a madman's flesh, and thinly drawn with famishing for blood. Lend him to stroke these blind, blunt bullet heads, which long to muzzle in the hearts of lads, or give him cartridge of the fine zinc teeth, sharp with the sharpness of grief and death. Today I will be discussing the First World War, including the beginning of the conflict, the warfare, the propaganda used, and some of the major turning points within the war. There was many factors that led to the First World War. Some of these factors include imperialism, militarism, and alliances between the nations. In the land of Austria-Hungary, there was multiple ethnicities and nationalities that believed that they should have their own piece of land or be a part of another nation. This included the Serbs. The Serbs wanted to be a part of Serbia, and in an attempt to achieve these means, a radical extremist Serb attacked the Austria-Hungary prince Franz Ferdinand, which resulted in his death and the launch of the First World War. With the war underway, the Germans believed that they had the means to achieve their goal of not fighting a war on two fronts, which was called the Schlieffen Plan. This plan consisted of attacking the east and then focusing on the west once the east conquest was complete. However, in the First Battle of Marne, the French were able to halt and stop the attacks from the Germans, which resulted in a two-war front for the Germans, with the West powers of Britain and France combined with the Eastern powers of Russia, making the war a two-front war. Additionally, propaganda was used against enemy nations to portray an image that was false. For example, in this image here, the Germans are being portrayed as guerrillas, as brutes, and as animals, which was portrayed by the British. Propaganda was also used to promote military, which resulted in recruitment efforts and getting more troops to join the military. However, one of the major turning points within the war was the introduction of the United States. The United States had already played a role in the war, however, with providing aid to Britain, France, and Russia. However, through the Zimmerman telegraph, with the Germans promising Mexico lands that was previously theirs, the United States intercepted the message, which resulted in their declaration of war against the Axis powers. With the United States into the war, with more troops and more ammunition and more financial aid to the foreign countries, the Allies were able to overcome the Germans, which resulted in their victory in 19. In this video, I discussed the beginning of the conflict, warfare, and propaganda, as well as the first major turning point within the war. Thank you.